My name's Arielle Vallet, and I'm here today live with Artsphere Inc. Today, I'm going to be talking about 3 amazing female writers. We're going to be learning about some writers who broke the glass ceiling and opened doors for all of us who love writing that came afterwards. These were 3 female writers that, despite adversity, never stopped speaking their truth, and their words changed the world and paved the way for us all. Today, I'll be discussing the mysterious Mary Shelley, the marvelous Maya Angelou, and the terrific Tina Fey. Starting with Mary Shelley. Mary Shelley was born in London, England, and lived from 1797 until 1851. She was a novelist, short story writer, travel writer, children's book author, biographer, and feminist. She is best known for writing the tremendously popular gothic novel Frankenstein. Frankenstein is also considered one of the first early examples of science fiction. She was the daughter of a philosopher and political writer, William Godwin, and famed feminist Wollstonecraft, with the same name as her, Mary. Mary Shelley lived during a time when women were denied an education, and because of this, she received a very little formal education. However, her father valued education and tutored her in a broad range of subjects. This led to Mary living a literary life. Her father encouraged her to learn and write by composing letters, which turned into her favorite childhood activity, which was writing children's stories. When Mary was only 15, her father was quoted saying that Mary had a strong desire for knowledge, and her perseverance in everything she undertook was almost invincible. In 1816, Mary traveled with her husband, son, and friend Claire to Geneva to visit their friend and acclaimed poet, Lord Byron. While sitting by the fire at Lord Byron's house, Byron came up with a fun game. He said, "Why don't we all have a little competition where we all think of a ghost story, and whoever has the scariest ghost story wins?" Well, needless to say, Mary won. And this activity led to Mary writing the greatest, in my opinion, gothic novel ever written, Frankenstein. It is one of the most successful books in history and was officially published in 1818. Throughout Mary's life, she continued to practice her mother's feminist principles by extending aid to women who were deemed unworthy in society, purely based on their economic standing or their color. And like her mother, Shelley grew up to be one of the history's most original and respected and successful female writers. Shelley was an extraordinary person and a pioneer for female writers everywhere. Next, I'm going to be talking about the amazing Maya Angelou. Maya Angelou lived from 1958 until 2014. She was a writer, poet, civil rights activist, dancer, filmmaker, feminist, and lecturer well into her 80s. She published 7 autobiographies, 3 books of essays, several books of poetry, and is credited with a list of plays, movies, and television shows spanning over 50 years. She received dozens of awards and more than 50 honorary degrees. In 1959, she joined the Harlem Writers Guild, and during her time in New York, she became heavily active in the civil rights movement. She worked alongside Martin Luther King Jr. and Malcolm X. Angelou is best known for her series of 7 autobiographies, which focus on her childhood early experiences and her early adult experiences. The first autobiography she wrote, I Know Why the Caged Bird Sings, is probably her most famous work, and is also an amazing tale of triumph. It tells the story of her life up until age 17, and dives deep into her personal aspects of her life. In this book, she truly turned her pain into art. This book brought her international recognition and acclaim, and through her writing of autobiographies, Angelou became recognized and highly respected as a spokeswoman for people of color and women. Beginning in the 1990s, she made approximately 80 appearances a year on the lecture circuit. This also continued well into her 80s. Her vast career played a huge part in changing the landscape of American culture, and her persistence, talent, and courage helped break the glass ceiling for people of color and women throughout this entire nation. She was a true role model and inspiration to us all. Lastly, I'm going to be talking about the terrifically funny Tina Fey. She was born in 1970s in Upper Darby, Pennsylvania, my home state. She was an actress, writer, comedian, and playwright. Early in her career, she performed in the famous improv theater, the Second City in Chicago. During her time performing in the Second City, she sent her sketches to a fairly popular late-night show. I'm not sure if you've heard of it, but Saturday Night Live. In 1997, Fey finally heard back from Saturday Night Live and was hired to be a writer for the show. After 2 years of being a writer for Saturday Night Live, she worked her way to becoming Saturday Night Live's first female head writer in all of its history of performing. In 2000, Tina began performing on the show and quickly became a current cast member. In 2004, she made her debut as a feature film writer with the incredibly successful comedy Mean Girls. She also co-starred in it and was incredibly fetch, in my opinion. Fey wrote and produced and starred in her own show, 30 Rock. The show was so successful and ended its run with 112 Emmy nominations under its belt. Tina also created and produced the television show, Unbreakable Kimmy Schmidt. Fey became the youngest person to ever receive the Mark Twain Prize for American Humor. Tina's complete and utter acceptance of herself paved the way for her success in comedy and as a writer. Her career and accomplishments and unapologetic authenticness paved the way for female comedy writers everywhere and made her a true hero to all of us, including myself. These are 3 amazing female writers who were trailblazers and inspirations. However, these were only 3 among millions in history and present day. Please go to ArtSphere Inc. to check out some more of these amazing female writers, as well as to see a great range of classes in crafts, sound, music, writing, and art, and so many more. I would also love to see your own work, and you can do so by posting it to Facebook or Instagram and share it with me by using the hashtag loveartsphere.inc. Thank you so much for tuning in and taking the time to listen to me talk about 3 amazing writers who are my personal heroes, and I know are personal heroes to so many more. I had such a great time. Thank you, and good night.